Spirits of the land here where it is overcast. Haven't been outside yet, but I have done my training session. I have a busy week this week, really busy week. So I'm getting in ahead and really trying to plan my week out. Um, so no, okay, it looks like I'm live now. Let's just hope, guys. Let's just hope that it's going to work today. Okay. Like I said, last week of Mercury retrograde. I suppose more towards the weekend. So we've got a full moon on Saturday. All right, so we are getting into a fairly gritty, might be a good word for it. Like there's a little bit of friction. Thursday, when Mars moves into Libra, there's a little bit of, you have to sort of put your diplomatic hat on. Even Friday, there is some tension starting. So I've done the words for the full moon on Saturday, which is also Daniel's birthday. Um, but I feel like I'm gonna have to redo it because I haven't quite got the the flow for it. Again, everything's feeling a little bit gritty this week. All right, so let's click. I don't think it's working. No, good morning, Barbara. How are you? I will see you. I hopefully get to meet you in like 2 weeks now. That would be lovely if we could catch up. All right. So, for most of the day today, we have the moon in Sagittarius. Yay. And that is trine the sun in Leo. All right. So that's nice. It's we're being adventurous. We've got these higher perspectives. Think of Sagittarius, it's higher education, justice, the judicial system. Jupiter ruled, all right? So the moon in Jupiter's sign. Maybe, I said higher education, judicial system, adventures, sports, large animals, large animals bigger than a goat. Again, it feels like a good day, and the morning is way more helpful. It's getting a little bit grittier as the day goes on. So let's read the words. Actually, I'll click the button one more time and say hello to Heather and good morning, Steph. How are you? So nice to see you both. All right, so the words. The day starts off easy enough, but the trick to staying ahead, and this goes for all week actually, guys. The trick to staying ahead is catching the little bumps before they turn into mountains. And that's just my general philosophy in like for life. Deal with things when they're small, when you can see that you've got a little bit of a discomfort forming. That's generally your body or the universe saying this is something that needs attention. All right, so clarity is the key. Double check the details. Don't be afraid to ask people to repeat things back to you so nothing gets lost in translation. A little bit of extra effort now saves a whole lot of cleaning up later. And even in the words for maybe, there you go, Friday, I've put in the words that maybe what is needed is a universal translator like the Doctor Who or Star Trek universes. At least they can understand each other. They live by prime directives and very moral compasses. So you can sort of get the feeling of this week, especially with Mars moving into Libra, right? Right now, Mars is right at the end, all right? So he's starting to become aware and wrapping up all of these things that he's been dealing with while he was in Virgo, all right? So think health related habits, how you give and receive, or sorry, more how you serve and how you, your duty, your duty to yourself and your duty to other people. All right. So, in the last little bit of time, you might have reorientated or had a look at how you serve people and is it serving you at all right? So that Mercury in Leo retrograde, you might be exhausted because you are giving everything to everybody else. Remember, Mars was meeting up with that south node, that empty cup, and he's like, I've got no va-va-voom left. So that experience, the whole, we all woke up when the moon was conjunct South Node, aching and hurting and like, oh my God, my body. So that's sort of, the reality check that we might be doing too much. So we then look at our daily self-care rituals. So that's just in general Mars wrapping up his Virgo transit. And when he moves into Libra, remember he is in detriment in Libra because he rules Aries. He wants to just go and do all the things, but he's got to be diplomatic. He's got to keep the peace. He's got to try and work with other people to make things balance. All right. So now on the world stage, especially with this Aquarian full moon on Saturday, um, I hope that these masculine energies that run the world can pull their heads out of their butts and see that they need to communicate for the collective good. All right, Mars is coming into a trine to Pluto. All right, so that's good. I mean that's let's again let's find balance and do what's good for the collective, rather than just being so selfish and concerned for the singular well-being. Again, with the Star Trek and Spock, with the needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few or the one. So let's click the button again. Da, 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 da. Hello, Susan. How are you? All right. So going back to today. All right. So like I said, the moon is trine the sun all day. That is exact at 4 o'clock. That is lovely. All right. Now after 11, the moon does start to inconjunct. All right. So tension and adjustment required. Can't quite see eye to eye up until 4:30. So again, with the, pay attention to the little bumps. Make sure that people are understanding what your point is. Ask for confirmation. Ask questions. Make sure that, Mercury's starting to slow down. Just make sure everybody's on the same page, okay? Because then after 4 o'clock, which is, so everything's sort of happening around that 4 o'clock mark. So energetically, I'd really pay attention to that time, because after 4, the moon then starts to square the nodes. All right, so with that in conjunct to Jupiter at 4:30, so everything might be shiny and nice up until 4 o'clock, and then there's this at 4:30, and then the moon started to square the nodes. So don't be promising things that you don't want to live up to. All right, remember, going back to just the how you are serving yourself is more important to how you're serving everyone else, especially if you think it's a duty and it's not a desire. Like, if you have that, oh, I have a deep need to serve people in a certain way, then that's, I feel, more 12th house. Whereas, oh, I have to do this. That's more your job, the duty, so just I don't know where I got there, but just sort of, that 4 o'clock perspective, the shifts and changes. Again, questions, don't just do shit because it's what you've always done. All right, so the sun is not making any aspects at the moment other than separating conjunction to Mercury, right, which is going to come back soon. Can't remember what date that was, but I can let you know at another time. So Mercury is trine the Saturn Neptune. So here we are with the sorry, I've got an awesome one here. So Mercury trine Saturn Neptune. You don't have to fight, but you have to stand for something. All right. So here we are with Mercury doing all its things, approaching that Saturn Neptune with the, there's always going to be requirements for you to work for something. All right. So you might as well believe in the thing that you're working for. So all of this retrograde Leo and I'm doing this for you, not me, hopefully it's allowing those understandings to become clearer so you can hone in on the things and be way more specific about where you're putting your energy. All right. Now, Mercury is also coming back to oppose that Pluto. So maybe that's that shadow sector that, when we were exhausted and we were seeing those Pluto things, like me, like you're seeing all those type of things. We don't want Pluto to come back and cause illness because we're running ourselves into the ground type of energy, all right? So the cognitive understanding of the physical ramifications. Again, just sort of going with the flow here. Although a lovely one that is starting is Venus is starting to conjunct Jupiter. That's lovely. All right. So that's in general. That's really nice. But the moon's in Jupiter's sign. Venus is approaching Jupiter because she's faster. Um, so I feel like that's it. I feel like that's it. I am going to draw a card and let's have a quick look at. Actually, I had a very beautiful awareness that, I sat here on the weekend and the other day I was telling you that I was unable to go too far into the future because I was in it. And, the work that I did on myself over the weekend, all of a sudden I'm looking months ahead. I've got my week ahead's words done. I'm like, something opened up that I was able to then move further into the future. Like it was just, I don't know, it was a beautiful realization. I'm like, I feel like I did do good in the work that I had to do. Good morning, Louise. All right, let's just draw this card. I will stop talking now. Oh, that was a very quick one, wasn't it? All right. Oh, have we seen this one before? Painting joy across the sky. Oh my God, that is so beautiful for the Sag moon. I love that. All right. So this is card number 23. So vibrant. All right. Okay, essential meaning, joy in all its forms, loving life, being grateful, sharing joy and reverence for all. Life can be a sticky place some days where safety and trust may not come easily. How do you trust a world that is changing so rapidly, where people seem more and more disconnected from each other, from nature and from spirit? Your work is hard and hope for the, oh, sorry, you work hard and hope for the best, but you can be easily disheartened and disappointed. Yes, life is a struggle. It can be unfair, hard, corrupt, and hopeless, but it's simultaneously hopeful, brilliant, trustworthy, good, and beautiful. Nothing will ever be perfect, but neither will it be permanent. Can you bring your attention to the beauty of the cosmos, of nature, and all her inhabitants, to see the beauty within each person you encounter? Can you remember that joy is a perception, a perspective, and an action? Breathe in and tune into the energy of gratitude. Choose to be kind and compassionate to the citizens of the world, regardless of the challenges surrounding you. Give freely of your heart, and then you will know how to paint joy across the sky. Joy doesn't need the outer world to behave. In fact, the greatest expression of joy can arise from your deepest sorrows. Remember that joy is an energy, and a contagious one at that. When you cultivate it and spread it freely, the outer world will reflect back to you in a form that is just so beautiful and meaningful. Choose joy today, and soon you'll note how much richer and fulfilled you are. In fact, more reasons to be joyful will spring up in your outer world the more you pay attention to joy. Oh, I love that. That is just really, really nice. All right, here's some joy I'm going to share. Look, the bunny is almost done. I love this one. And I was looking around in my crystals, and this one has got I can't remember the name of this crystal. Can anybody identify this? I know that the lines going through it are very specific. But yeah, so this one is going to have that heart in a bag so it doesn't get swallowed, placed into the bunny as well. So Rains, I think, had rose quartz from memory. But anyway, there we go. That was my little bit of sharing joy. Love bunnies. So one more click, and I hope everybody has a beautiful day. Good morning, Kath. How are you? So so yeah, remember this week, guys, okay? We've got a full moon on Saturday. The full moon is in Aquarius, all right? So we are moving in a future direction. We've got innovation, we've got care for the collective. We're looking at social situation, group environments. There's a certain amount of innovation and technology, but it is also, the sun is in Leo, so it is about ourselves. It is about, matters of our heart, our creativity, our love, joy, and even our children. So just sort of look into this coming week and just pay attention when you start to feel any grittiness or tension starting to rise, that we remember that Mercury is slowing down. There is a full moon. There's a few things this week that might cause us to just have that heightened anxiety, which is very Aquarian. So yeah, I love you guys so much. So take care, and I will see you tomorrow morning. Mwah.